Right, morning everybody. So welcome to this webinar about charities and improving fundraising with Dynamics 365 and Evo 365. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a little run through of our Evo solution. Before we get started, we've got a few slides just telling you a little bit about us, Chorus. Some of you may know us already, some of you may be new to us, but just for a bit of background, we're a gold partner. We specialize in Azure and 365, that's Dynamics and Microsoft, SharePoint and the Power Platform. We've worked extensively with not-for-profits and the charity sector across all of those Microsoft technologies over a number of years, as well as commercial companies as well. 365, Evo 365 has been developed in-house entirely and built upon the Dynamics 365 stack as it used to be known. You can extend that out to be the Power Platform as well these days, which is showing some very interesting and dynamic improvements and technologies. Cool. So why did we choose Dynamics 365 to build this stack on and this accelerator? Well, firstly, it's customizable, massively customizable. In fact, we can pretty much make it do anything we want it to do. Makes it very easy in a sales meeting because people ask me, can it do this? And the answer is always yes. But it's great. It's really flexible. And because it's Microsoft, it's got a whole heap of integrations and scalability that come with it, and that really makes it a no-brainer for a lot of companies that are already Microsoft houses. The mobility and offline access is brilliant, really empowering, especially users on the streets. So if you think about your door-to-door fundraisers, the ability to now with the Power Platform be able to spin up a Canvas app and allow them to do their jobs on the system itself, no more importing spreadsheets and things. It's just fantastic. So a little bit about Evo 365. So it's basically it's a pre-built bespoke functionality for fundraising, membership and charities or not-for-profits. It comes with obviously all of that backup from Dynamics 365, as I've said, and the Power Platform. And Evo is actually available in, we'll call it 2.5 flavors. We have the fundraising flavor, which is what we're going to be looking at today. So that's aimed primarily at the bigger kind of fundraising. So rather than your recurring donations, but this is more trust applications and major donor stewardship. We also have the membership flavor, which allows for those recurring donations, and if you're a membership house as well and offer a membership, it allows for that. So we're talking about handling renewal processes and putting in funds on a scheduled basis. And then together those two combine to make our not-for-profit solution, obviously encompassing both the recurring revenue and also those big one-off stewardship pieces. So the benefits of Evo, well, as I said, we position it as an accelerator. That's not to mean that you have to do bespoke development or development on top of it. It just means that you have the option to. So by having an accelerator, you reduce greatly the cost of bespoke development because you're basically kind of getting 80% through your project from day one. So that allows you to get up and running within days. And what we find with the fundraising application is that our stewardship teams, so those trust teams and major donors, they're up and running within days. Usually it's an import of a spreadsheet and we're away, which is great for them. It allows us to move away from inflexible and stagnant old systems. Quite often they've gone through a lot of different custodians and the data's a bit odd, so it gives you a good opportunity to clean all that up. But also we've got roadmaps and we're constantly putting in new ideas as we're going out and talking to different people at the events that we run, pre-corona, we were doing events in London and Bristol, meeting people, talking to them, finding out what they want, what they need from a system, and the flexibility of Dynamics really allows us to put those things into practice. Skipping down, we also have the benefit of there's a preferential not-for-profit license costs from Microsoft for Dynamics, as well as for Evo for the fundraising piece. We also have a price list for membership organizations that don't need that fundraising element. And it's secure because it's Microsoft and it's all hosted in the cloud, which is nice. So the 365 fundraising, Evo 365 fundraising app, what is it? Well, as I've kind of said already, it encompasses trust and grant management, individual giving and major donors. We also have in there a gift aid management module to allow for claims from the HMRC gateway. We also have project and program income tracking. So I think one of our customers termed it as a shopping list. Basically, we need to raise money for X, Y, and Z. How are we doing? What's our targets? And we'll have a little bit of a look at that in a minute. We also have the ability to mark up potential legators and track those and communicate with them. And obviously, we need some income and donation management in there. So there's a whole lot of stuff just within the fundraising piece that really should empower your users. Okay, so today I could go on forever and a day about Evo. I've been working on it for a good few years now and talking to people. So we've got half an hour, which isn't very long in my world, but I'm going to try and get through two kind of highlights really. The first is we're going to have a look at application management. So this is your trust and grant applications and also extends out to individual giving and major donors. We'll have a little look at the programs and projects income tracking, so you can have a little look at that. And then we'll do a little bit of work on dashboards and reporting. So we'll show you what you get out of the box, and I'll give you a little demo of how you can tweak that and change that and really make it your own. Once we've gone through that, we'll have a little look at the gift aid processing. How does gift aid work? How do we work out eligibility on a payment? What is a gift aid batch? How the HMRC claim works, and then some dashboards that we give you as part of that. So there should be plenty in there. If there's anything that you want to go through and see more of, you can always get in contact with us afterwards. Please fire in some Q&As as we go through, and I've got Lisa to my side who is keeping an eye on those, and she'll wave at me if there are any things that I need to stop for. Great, so I'm going to just jump into the demo system then. Okay, so here we go. So you guys should all be able to see my screen now if everything has worked according to plan. So what we have here is just our landing page of Evo. It's our development dashboard, and it gives us a really good overview of kind of what I've got going on. And as I said, we're going to have a little look at the application process. We'll have a look at how that works in the system. And really the application process follows a standard, for lack of a better word, sales process. So potential applications, this may well be a trust that you've never worked with before. Basically, you kind of want to sense check them before you start going headlong into planning an ask or planning how you're going to do this application. So what we use for that is we use the lead entity. And that allows us to have a nice bucket where we can put information about who we're going to be talking to. We can put in some research notes about them. So it may be information I found from the Charities Commission website. It might be some information I found on Google or in the press, things like that. And we can collect it together all in one place so that at some point we will jump out of our research stage and we'll go into a planning stage. So across the top, we have 6 stages, and this is based on kind of a 7 stages of solicitation. The first First stage being identify, which is putting it on the system. From there, we can work through our research, plan, cultivate, ask, response, and stewardship stages. And at each stage, we've got prompts, basically, to remind people this is what you should be asking at this stage. So we have gateways, which are highlighted with a red asterisk, which basically say you need to answer this question before you can move on to the plan stage, and the system will actually prevent me from moving unless they're answered. So we're asking questions like, have we already got a connection? Do they have a capacity to give or a propensity to give? Nice and important is the existing contact and account. Time and time again, we talk to customers and potential customers. When you say to them, look, what's wrong with your current system? Why do you want to come out of it? The word data comes up time and time again. So it's really important to start as you mean to go on. Check if they're in the system. If they're in the system, link it to them. That will prevent duplicates, and that keeps everything nice and tidy. So as well as our research notes and things like that, we also have standard Dynamics functionality. And if you've never seen Dynamics before, it's a CRM underneath it all, a relationship management system. So filing away your activities, your emails, your meetings and tasks is really, really important. It gives such a rich portfolio for these companies that you may have long-standing relationships with. So hopefully you'll qualify and move on to the next stage. So I'm going to actually just jump to an opportunity that we've got in already. One thing that you may notice is we've got the terms leads and opportunities, which is very kind of foreign for not-for-profits. We've done that on purpose. We can actually relabel them, but what we want is our customers to be empowered and self-sufficient. So if they've got a problem, or they want to know how to do something within Dynamics, keeping to the Dynamics terminology really makes sense for them, because it means that they can use Google, and there's a huge community around Dynamics to help them out. So we're at the planning stage on this application. So I can see I've got lots of information filled in, and at planning, I'm looking for identifying my areas of funding. So down in my reference panel here, I've got my programs and projects. So I've identified that they may be kind of lined up for either the Buzzing for Change or coastal conservation projects. And in fact, in this case, I've actually spoken to them, and I've proposed a Buzzing for Change program. If I flick through and I just have a look at that program for a moment, what we'll see is I can actually flip it and look from the program's point of view. So I can see all of my opportunities that have been linked to this program and their statuses. I can also see payments and donations that are coming in and have been allocated to that program. And that really allows me to give a good insight into our shortfall. So we had a target of 150,000 on this. We've so far had 141.5, give or take, come in. We're actually due another 125, so we're going to really exceed this, which is great. I can also see my projects that are running under this program, so different streams of fundraising for it. So that's really interesting, and it's really good to be able to see that. And we'll have a little look at how we can really expose that in a moment. So if I flip back to my opportunity, really, this is replacing usually, as I said, a spreadsheet. In some cases, many spreadsheets, but usually it's around that. And we kept it very, very loose. So as well as being able to track who am I talking to, time frames, payment codes, so finance codes that I might want the funds to go to, who is involved in this, so we can have day-to-day contacts, for example. I can make Mike the cultivator, and I can make myself, I'll be a cultivator as well. And all of those drop downs are all configurable. As well as that, we've got the ability to enter in key dates. So when can we apply for this? When's the deadline? When did we make the application? What's our probability? How much are we going to ask for? How much do we think we're going to get? And that's key for those pipelines. And again, that's another commercial term, but it's really a concept that is very well received by the teams that we talk to. Being able to see that projection, how much do we think we've got coming in? So once I'm out of the plan stage, or I feel I can move on, I can actually move to my next stage, which in this case is cultivate. And our cultivation stage really just asks us, what's the next step and when should it be done by? So we have a timeline. And on my timeline, I could put any number of things coming up. So I could put invites to events, I could put emails, I could put phone calls that I want to make in the future, but there's always something that's going to be happening next. And the reason that we've exposed that in the timeline is just because it makes things easier. When we were back on our dashboard earlier, I can have a dashboard of all of my current opportunities I've got. What am I supposed to be doing next? When am I supposed to be doing it by? And I can work through them. That's my kind of my priority list, if you like, for the day. So the aim is that we'll probably go around in the cultivate section for quite a while, especially when it comes to major donors. And eventually we'll get out of that and we'll move on into the ask. We'll be asked, okay, look, are we sure that the canvasser is right? When did we make the application? We've got the ability here to just say, okay, well, actually the probability's gone up now. Because things are getting closer and I've got a really good feeling about this. Once I've filled in that information and the time has come, I'll get my response. And the one that always gives most people a giggle is the number of no's that we've got in here. But they're for very good reason, because, for example, if it's no, go away, we're just going to close it and be done with it. Maybe put a note against the trust just to say we've applied before. They said don't bother again. But if they say no, not for this, I may well put in another opportunity and propose a different project or program, and then work through that and apply next year. So it's really important to know why you're losing out, because it's gonna affect what you're going to do going forwards. So hopefully it will be a yes, and hopefully we can say we actually got however much money, and we'll be able to start creating our payments. So within the system we have our payments. So we have the ability to put in basically our payment structure. So when do we expect this money to come in? If I click on new, you'll see the payment screen. So how are they going to be paying? What are we going to class this as? Is it a restricted donation? Is it unrestricted donation? And that's where our products come in. You can see our project and program have come through. It may well be a future payment. So this is one that we're expecting, and that's how we form our payment plans. And when we get into the gift aid piece in a minute, we'll have a little bit look at the payment screen in a moment with more information on it. Just discard those changes. The other piece that we need to fill in is actually our reporting schedule. And this has proved really useful for a lot of teams. So as many of you will know, most trusts will say, yeah, that's fine, I'll give you this money, but I expect you to tell me how you're going to use that money, how you've used it over the last 4 months, 6 months, whatever the schedule is. So by being able to create a record in the system that basically just says, I need the first report, it needs to be in by this date, I haven't submitted it yet, bit of a description, I can assign it to someone. Again, that's brilliant information to have on a dashboard, because let's say 3 months prior to the report, because usually they're fairly complicated to talk to finance, find out where the money's gone, all of those kinds of things. You can have a heads up and a prompt to say, look, this report needs to be done, mark it as being done, haven't got to worry anymore. So that again is just putting more meat on the bones, really, and more than you would get with your standard spreadsheet. That's probably where you form off into your second spreadsheet or your third spreadsheet. Okay, so let's have a little look at that dashboard. We'll flick back to it, and I want to show you just how, for those of you that haven't used Dynamics before, how easy it is to customize these things, because we kind of give you what we think you want, but it really never They never stay like that for very long with our customers because things change and they start seeing patterns, and the managers think, oh, I need to keep an eye on this and that. So I'm going to use this scenario that this top right is the bottom right even isn't really working for me. I want to replace that with something. So I'm going to replace it with some information about my projects and programs. So I'm just going to flick to the projects and programs list. And I want to create a chart. And specifically, I want to see just graphically where we are with our target versus our payments coming in across all of my projects and programs. Don't know why it's decided to have a good loading screen now, but I'll give it a chance. Let me see if asking it twice helps. Lovely. Just going to refresh my page and just see if it's, my poor little browser has a lot of work to do day to day. Right. Well, there you go. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's do a column, and I want to show my target amount for the program, and I also want to show my amount paid. Amount paid for the program, and I want to show that split on the program itself. Okay, and let's go for our, we're just going to go for the top 5 biggest ones because then it makes it a little bit clearer. Okay, so we'll save that. So there we go, I've got my graph. I can see my bars of, this is my amount paid coming in, and this is my target amount. So we can see this one's doing very well. But I want to put that onto my dashboard because I don't want to have to forage around for it every time. So what I can do is I can clone this system one out. I'll just call it mine. I can now have the power to edit, and all users can do this. They've all got the ability to tweak and change things. So instead of looking at opportunities, I'm now going to look at projects and programs. We're going to have a look at active, that's fine. And we've got our chart. So we've changed that, hit save, close, give it a little refresh. And there we go, I've got my projects and programs. And the nice thing about these charts is they're all, I can drill into all of them. So I can either see the data, so I can go view records, and it will flick me in. And then I can, when I actually click on the bars, you'll see the change of data coming through. So by doing that, you can really empower users to be able to drill through and see everything that they need to see. Okay, so that's about all I need to do for fundraising, and we're going to very quickly go through gift aid now. Right, so obviously we have payments being tracked within the system, and all of these payments that come in will be assessed for their gift aid eligibility, and it's done in 2 levels. The first level is the individual themselves. So in this case, we've got Becky. She has a gift aid declaration, and the system will have looked at that gift aid declaration, much like we're doing now. And it will say, okay, well, what was the method? In this case, it was web, so I've got no confirmation that's required. If it was oral, I would be waiting for the confirmation to be sent out. If it was written, I would ensure that the document had been uploaded. And the next piece is it has a look at the date, so reclaim from and to, and we make sure that the payment date is within that range. Once we've assessed that, we have a look at the payment method, make sure it's a valid payment method for gift aid, so it's not a company check, etc. And then after that, we have a look at the products themselves. So each of our products within the system gets a gift aid validity status. So this one's valid for gift aid because it's a donation, and in this case it's 100% valid. We do have some customers who run memberships, and they have an agreement with HMRC that their membership can be 80% or 70% gift aidable, and the system will cope with that. So what that means is when the donation comes in, the system will work out how much of it can be gift aided. We've got a gift aidable amount there. And these payments could have multiple lines. So if you think of a membership, there may be a top-up donation on there, and the membership may not be gift aidable, but the top-up donation may be gift aidable. And once it's done that, it marks it as ready for processing, and that's really important. The system then has 3 different ways of creating a gift aid batch. That could be fully manual, whereby someone says, I want to put this payment into the current batch. It could be semi-automatic, where it says, I'm ready for you to create my next batch, please. And the system will go through, find all of those payments that are ready for processing, and it puts them all into a batch for you. And then the extension is fully automatic, which is, it just does that for you every night. Just keeps on putting them in until you're ready to submit. Once you're ready to submit, you can go to the gift aid batch screen, which can be found on the navigation as well. And we can see the total that's in the claim. We can also see all the payments that are in the claim and the exact information that will be sent to HMRC. So it's really important to have a look on here and run your eyes down, check the postcodes, check to make sure they're valid, check the initials are there. They should be, but it's always worth checking. Once you're ready, you can hit submit batch, click on OK, and it will get sent up to HMRC. HMRC will send us back a, yep, that's fine. And then, unfortunately, just due to a restriction on the HMRC website, you'll have to click on, this will change to confirm batch. And you click on confirm batch, and HMRC will come back and they'll either say, yep, that was all good, and all of these payments will start getting changed to submitted and processed, or they'll give you a little message in here, which will say there was an error, this postcode was wrong, or what have you. You then have the ability to change the data. You can then reset the batch by using a flow. If I click on flow, it will load up and show you. So I can reset my gift aid batch status, and then I can submit it again. You might have noticed also you've got the ability to mark as manually submitted. So you can also export the information from Dynamics into Excel, submit it through the gateway as normal, and then just mark it as, yep, we did that, and we can mark as submitted that way. We also append the information that sends to HMRC, the XML. So if there are any queries or anything, you've always got the HMRC ID, the exact XML that was submitted, and you can go through and find out. So from a reporting point of view on gift aid, there's one thing that's really useful. Well, there's lots of things that are useful, but there's one thing that I'd like to show you. And that's the gift aid dashboard. So from here, I can see all of my batches. I can see any batches that have failed, so I can take action on those. Very useful is this pie chart in the middle, because this shows me that I've got a big orange section of no declarations. And no declaration means that either the contacts have got a declaration and it's invalid, or they just don't have a declaration at all. So that's a pot of contacts within the system that I could maybe give them a call. So it may be that that section is marked up. So if I drill into it, and let's go for the customer, I can see now who makes up that segment. So I can see the Be Friendly trust is actually a lot of it, and that's a trust, so it's highly unlikely I'm going to get gift aid on that. But here, Chris Jones is a person, so maybe it's worth giving Chris a ring. Actually, I can see below he's got an invalid gift aid declaration. So straight away I can go in, maybe give him a ring. Have you thought about giving gift aid? Go through the process, and I can maybe claim a bit more money, which is great. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys today. I hope it's been useful. I hope it's been an insight into into the system. It's really scratching the surface. As I said, I could speak for an entire day on this. But yeah, that's it for my demo. So just to round off with the last slide. So we're currently actually offering this solution. So everything that you've seen right now this morning, we're offering free for 12 months to try and help out charities in this in the current climate. And that's offering 365 fundraising to charities and not-for-profits for free. So no Evo licensing on it. So hopefully you take us up on the offer and get in touch. Any questions, just pop them in the Q&A. We've got a question here from Josh, just saying, is there going to be a recording? Yes, there is. And my lovely assistant, Lisa, will be sending that out shortly after.
I've got another question here about the charity commission information that you mentioned,
Yeah.
and whether you could possibly show that.
Sure can. So if I pop my screen up again. Okay, here we go. So I'm on a trust page showing an overview of my trust. So I've got things on here like their location, likelihoods, and importantly, I've got their location and their charity number. So up at the top, I've got a charity commission button. I can give that a click and straight away I'll be taken to the charity commissions for their area. I can now grab any information that I need to out of here. I can paste it into my system and I've got a nice round view of everything. Cool. Just checking the questions again. I think that's about it. So I'll hold fire for a few more minutes. If there are any questions, just pop them in. If not, have a lovely day and hopefully I'll see you all guys in person at some point.